things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Hello, folks. How are you? How's your Friday gone? Have you had a good one? I've had a pretty decent sort of a day. I made some new friends today. I went to a My Place meeting at Ormo. Hello to all the crew that were out there for that. And had a very interesting conversation. Well, I had a number of interesting conversations, but it was great to see the speaker out there today. Was a young man named Ferdy, and 24 years of age. And I was very impressed with his first public outing as a speaker, if you like, but the fact that such a young man has such a good grip on the current situation really impressed me and leads me to think that there might be a bit of hope for the youth in this country as we go forward. Please God, let that be the case. So yeah, thank you to everybody from the My Place Ormo group today who turned up. It's quite a large group. There's about 250 members for the Ormo. That's north of the Gold Coast, if you like, group. And today we had about 20 or 30 there. They usually go for a lunch because dinner is a bit difficult for a variety of different reasons, given the ages of these people and their commitments in the evening. So they do a monthly lunch, and it's a beautiful little venue that we were at called Little Ego. And spectacular little venue. So if you're looking for a good feed in Ormo, Little Ego Cafe, head there. And if you are in the Ormo, Pimpama, Beenleigh sort of area of Brisbane and you want to join a My Place, then reach out. I'll put you in touch with the people who run the Ormo branch, and a great bunch of people, really lovely bunch, and look forward to catching up with them further in the not too distant future. The plan is to have Darren Bergwerf with me tonight, but Darren Bergwerf hasn't turned up yet, so he's in the middle of moving. So we've got to give him a little bit of leeway. So I'll fill the hole until he hopefully arrives with a little bit of news. Most of you in the chat will be aware that our lottery went off today. Ta-da! It's only been going for a little under a month. This one took a little longer, but we're very grateful for everybody who put their $2 in and had a chance at winning $750 or 1 ounce of these rather spectacular Byron Bobs in our Voice of Freedom holder. Once again, you won't get this one because it's badly painted, but we will give you one that looks much nicer, hand painted by Vince himself. So the winners, as it turns out for this, have been, wonderful, I think is the only way to describe it. Our first prize winner, the $750 prize winner, whose name is Katrina, God love you, Katrina, has accepted the prize very gratefully and then has asked to donate it back. So what will happen is she said to donate half back to the Voice of Freedom and half to the Donkey Sanctuary. So we are really happy to say that Sandy and the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary have just had a bit over $550 put into their account today. Thank you to Katrina. And we've got a little bit in ours too, which will help us get a little bit work done on the bus and get back on the road. So I can't thank you enough for that. That is so generous of you, so generous of you. And the silver, that went to Blanco. Mate, what a legend. So, mate, we will send that to you probably not until next week because I'm still waiting for some new holders to turn up, but we'll get it in the mail to you next week. The lovely Sandy is in the house. Yeah. $550 and a bit dollars. So hopefully that'll go some way to help feed the animals next week. There are now, or if not now, very shortly, there will be 108 donkeys calling the sanctuary home. And that number does fluctuate from time to time, usually goes up, doesn't come down too much unless, old age catches up with a few of them. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing that our family here, our Voice of Freedom family, thinks enough of our family to try and help those out that we can. And to be able to help the donkey sanctuary like this is just wonderful. I know Sandy struggles to find the money every month to look after those animals. Feed is not cheap. And then there's the vet bills and, the teeth and the shoeing and the feet and all the bits and pieces that have to be done. Not to mention all the work that has to be carried out on the property to make sure that the donkeys are safe while they're running around in their paddocks and doing all that sort of stuff. So can't thank you enough. And as you can see, Sandy is very, very grateful too. So, Katrina, thank you. Wonderful of you. And next time I see you, I'm going to give you a kiss. So look out. And Blanco, yes, I did say we will send these to you in the next week or so. I'm sorry, we don't have any more holders with me right now, which is a bit of a bummer, but shit happens, and we'll push on regardless. You will get them end of next week or the week after. That'll be the soonest we can get them to you. If you guys would like a Byron Bob pack, we can help you out with those very simply. Email me, carl@vofhq.com. Silver's gone down, so we're going to be putting the price back down again, because I think if we're quick, we'll be able to buy it while it's down. So if you are interested, then send me an email and I'll let you know the price when I get your email, because it sort of changes on a daily basis at the moment. But let us know and we'll sort you out for the next print run, which has already happened. So if you're not in this print run, you'll be in the one that Vince is about to start again. So that 3D printer of his is going off, I can tell you. Absolutely going off. A couple of little headlines to kick us off. Jackie Lambie has got a health update. She won't be back in Parliament for the rest of the year. Now, Jackie Lambie, former Army, I think she was a corporal in the Army in the 90s and early 2000s. Now, she was hurt while she was doing this. There you go. That message there at the bottom of the screen is to let you know if you're having a problem logging in to buy a ticket at vofhq.com for our new lottery, which I didn't finish telling you about that before I got into Jackie. We have started a new lottery, and this time we've put up a gram of gold instead of an ounce of silver. So that gram of gold, I don't know what they're worth at the moment, but last time I checked, they were about $250 odd worth. So that will be our runner-up, or second prize, if you like, in the current lottery. So I think we've got 30 odd tickets that have already been bought in that, meaning there's only 720 to go. Folks, we would love you to be a part of this, and I would love to give you the $750 cash or the 1 gram of gold. The Ainsley Bullion minted 1 gram bar is what you will get. And if you don't win it, you can always go to ainsleyBullion.com.au and get your own. And do it now, because the price of silver has, stayed around about the same as what it has been for the last 2 days. It's about 74.5. Gold has dropped fractionally today. But if you go to ainsleyBullion.com.au and click on the Insights tab and have a look at today's Ainsley Insights on what is happening in the gold market, you might find that there's a lot of people saying, gold's going to crash because there was such a big pickup in gold and silver in the last couple of weeks. It's all stopped. It's going to fall back down again. Well, the analysts are saying that may not be the case. The historical paperwork that they are able to bring to bear, given that Ainsley have been in the game for over 50 years in Australia as bullion dealers, their historical reference material is second to none. And what that shows, at this point at least, is while there is something of a pullback in the market at the moment, that's what they refer to, it is still a pullback housed inside what they're referring to as a bull market. So while the price of silver and gold may hover where it is or get a little lower in the next week or two, don't expect that it's going to bottom out and go back to $30 or $40, or even, I doubt it'll get back to $50 an ounce. So don't worry about, your investment too much yet. If you've forked out at, $78 an ounce and it's dropped back to 74, you're thinking, God, I've lost. Well, you only lose if you sell it. And trust me, there is no safer bet than silver and gold. And Ainsley Bullion, 51 years in the business, you can trust them. And they've got stock. That's probably the other big thing. They have stock of most things. Unlike the Perth Mint, who had a bit of a conniption last week and had to stop sales, I think only for a couple of hours during a day until they were able to, secure stock or source a little bit more production, because they do produce, obviously, everything out of the Perth Mint, or a lot of things out of the Perth Mint as well. So interesting times ahead. Keep an eye on it. And the gold and silver ratio at the moment indicates that somewhere in the world, somebody is throwing an awful lot of very big money to try and suppress the physical demand for precious metal. And there have been 6% influxes of cash into the market, which have had a small effect, nothing like it would ordinarily have done. It probably already should have in past times, would have triggered something of a much larger pullback. But these pullbacks are absorbing this huge amount of money that's being put into the system to try and stop the physical demand for silver and just keep going. So at the moment, it's an interesting little point in time. I would always recommend that if you have a spare dollar, invest it in silver or gold. If you've got a spare $2, maybe, or $2,000 or $6,200 and whatever it is at the moment, $6,250 an ounce. But silver still very affordable for just about everybody. And there are other precious metals that you should be talking about too. So we shall see what happens. What else is going on in the world today? Here is an interesting little event that is coming up on Remembrance Day. Now, this is happening in the UK, but it's interesting that a direct day of action on Remembrance Day is being called for in the UK. This could be another massive event, not unlike the one that happened with Tommy Robinson a week or so ago, before he immediately got on a plane and went to Israel. However, he probably had to go and thank people, because Ezra Levant and Rebel have been looking after him for quite some time, and playing hardball with them is probably not going to help him out in any way, shape or form. There is also some other good news that's been floating around today. This horrible cow, Inman Grant, the E-Safety Commissioner, has come out publicly saying that she believes at the end of her contract, she still has another year of it to run, but at the end of her contract, she expects to take a step back from it all. My understanding is that while Albo Sleazy was trying to look very good with his mate Donald Trump, Trump informed him that she has to go. And all of a sudden, they return back and there's talk of her going. If she is going, how much energy will she be ploughing into the cases that she's already put forward and ones that may come out in the future? Or has she seen the writing on the wall? Has Albo been told, you can't be a friend of America if you're going to suppress free speech, and your current laws designed to lock anybody under 16 out of the internet is such a radical and extreme proposal that it can only be viewed as another control restraint over those of us that are over 16, because we are the ones who are going to have to prove our age, not the 16-year-olds. And that's why digital ID and all that sort of crap is so important. Well, the man himself has joined us. As I said earlier, he has been lifting heavy weights and working up a sweat. So he's still walking around. I'll try and let him get to a place where he can get a seat and stop shaking his phone around before I bring him up. Otherwise, I'm going to make people sick all over the country. Speaking of getting sick, lovely folks in the chat have signed up for the cruise that we're going out on. And in fact, I want to invite Darren and his lovely other half out on that too, if they can make it in May next year. But we've got another two who've signed up today. Connie and Alan will be on the cruise with us, so I can't wait for that. It's a hell of a little group coming together. So May 4 to May 8 next year, and you'll be able to pick up a room with a balcony view for the two of you for little under $1,400 for the 4-day cruise. Hope you can join us. If you would like more information, I'll put the details of who to ring, how to ring, and get it all sorted up in toward the end of the show. All right, let's see if we can get the man up himself as he's walking around. Are you just checking to see that you haven't left anything behind there, big fella?
How you going, Carl?
Good, mate. Good. Big day packing.
No, I'm actually I bloody tried to get upstairs and I've lost my keys, so I can't get into my office to jump on the laptop. So I've had to jump on the phone.
Ah, well, there you go. All right. Well, it is what it is. We wanted to get you on to have a bit of a chat about the event that you've got planned coming up in November for Remembrance Day. Every year you seem to come up with a reason other than Remembrance Day to turn up at the shrine. So I was there a couple of years ago. I think I was there last year too. And always a great day, always a great event, always sprayed over so that we never get to see that pinprick of sunlight come through the shrine, which is a tad unfortunate. But this year you're going to do something a little different, mate.
Yeah, well, this year I think, where we're at and what's going on, and the lack of cohesion in the freedom movement, or the freedom movement, I like to call it now.
Yeah.
And I know I get lots of pushback from that, but at the end of the day, it's pretty much what it is. But so what I thought, and I've been trying to reach out to people that I haven't really spoken to for a few years, and try and see if we can unite on just one topic, and that is to, and straight away, the minute I put the post up, you got your naysayers. Oh, you don't know what these wars were manipulated, and rah, 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 and all the carry on about what these wars were. And it's not about the war, and it's not about necessarily whether I post something that may be AI. It's the message in the post, not whether the post is real or not. It's the message that people, and it just goes straight over people's heads. So, a lot of the stuff I post and my comments can be a little bit cryptic, or they can be a little bit facetious. That's just kind of what I do. But I was hoping that we could come to an agreement, everybody in this country, regardless of why these people died, and the fact that they were used as pawns by the industrial military complex. But they went to war in a foreign land believing that they were fighting for the life of their country and the land that we actually call Australia now. So regardless of why they were there, it's their intent and the purpose that they went there was to save this country from communism and from being taken over. And they sacrificed their lives for that. And we've got piss ants in this country now, absolutely pathetic people all through the freedom movement, that all they want to do is pick and carry on about fucking, all this other bullshit rather than, what these people sacrifice their lives for.
Yep.
And they would be rolling over in their graves if they could see how pathetic Australians are these days, and how divided we are, and how we just want to tear each other apart, rather than getting behind the concept of these people that gave the ultimate sacrifice for us to actually have a country, and we're just handing it over because we're pathetic and we can't come together, and all we want to do is play their game instead of exposing it. So I want everyone to take the day off as an action to show solidarity on one topic. It doesn't matter what group you're in, who you're affiliated with. Show some respect to these people that gave their lives, right, for us to have a free future, and then spend the rest of the day actually meeting people. And you don't have to come to the shrine. I would hope that people would go to their local, and once again, when I said this, go to your local RSL, and maybe you'll meet some people from your town that have heard this message or that are behind this cause, and you can start having a conversation after you've paid your respects about getting together and doing something for your country to actually not just respect the loss of these people, but show them that their loss wasn't in vain, that we're actually going to start from that day forward on the 11th of the 11th, and start taking serious action to defund and to destabilise and to basically have this system removed.
So when you say defunding it, there have been a lot of suggestions about how to do that. You know, everybody doesn't buy petrol for a week, or you don't go and buy groceries, or you don't pay your bills, you don't do this, you don't do that. Well, a lot of people have tried this action and have failed, or had coercive measures placed against them, which meant they could never win. I'm not going to say they failed. It just means that they would find it very, very difficult to win. Is it a matter of getting more numbers to understand how that game is played and getting people to stand up, or how do we make this happen?
I think we can make it happen by hopefully the digital ID comes into play. That would be a first thing that might actually wake some more people up to taking the correct action. 3 years ago, at the start of 2020, nearly 3 years ago, I laid out a plan then, what people could do, even if it wasn't not paying their rates. You know, if they were too scared or didn't have the knowledge or the skills to not pay rates or fines or whatever else, vote with your wallet against all the multinational corporations that run the media, that screw your farmers. And even those simple things that people can take without any risk, people aren't willing to take. So they just won't do what's required, and they still believe in this fantasy that Pauline Hanson's going to be their saviour, and Pauline for Prime Minister, and Rennick and the People's Party and all the rest of it. So they're so far behind reality, most of the Freedom movement and all the new people coming online, that they won't take the required action. They should be prepping now for a total shutdown of this country in 12 to 18 months, where we will be demanding that we get our country back. But you know, once again, there's 1,000 things people can do, but they're not willing to change their habits or anything in their lives to make a difference.
Is that because we either find ourselves in a comfortable position or an uncomfortable position that we've got used to living in, and we're just not prepared to shift, or are we just basically lazy?
I think we're basically, generally speaking, not everybody, but people just, they want change, but they're not willing to be the change. And I've been saying this for 3 years as well. And they want someone else to do it for them. Yeah, I agree. We should support our farmers, but then they don't take any actions in their own kind of life to follow through and make that happen. So I believe that everyone, not everyone, the bulk of the population are too comfortably numb, or they don't want to make the sacrifices. They want everyone else to make the sacrifices to make the change, but they won't do it. So change will not come. And this country will be going through this for another 5 years, unless there's military intervention. And to me, that is the only way. And Ricardo, as many bad comments I got for putting one of his posts up today, he's been, you know, all these people have been saying military is the only way all the way along. And we thought we could do better, and we could come together, but no one's going to help anyone that won't help themselves. And as a country and as a people, we refuse to help ourselves because we refuse to come together and get the right course of action, because there's 1,000 people and 1,000 courses of action, and nobody's uniting on what is the true way forward to get our country back. And I would say that you're not going to get your country back through the ballot box in this system, and you're not going to get your country back through the courts in this system. And there is only one peaceful way to get it back, and that's developing a plan amongst every single group in this nation, moving forward, so that within 12, 18 months, maybe 2 years, that we would have the numbers that would be ready and prepared mentally and financially to walk away from the system en masse and leave their work and say, that's it, we are done. You either hand over control to the interim government that we've got prepared, or we shut the country down. And I've been speaking about this for quite some time, and to me, it is the only option, and we could achieve this before 2028, which is the next federal election, if everyone put all the bullshit aside and realised that there is only one way forward. Otherwise, we're just fluffing around the edges and we're pissing into the wind.
A lot of people seem to believe that the Politicians are going to be the ones to figure this out. One Nation today have got pretty excited. Get Vince to pull those comments down for a minute. It'll show that One Nation believe they've got a 70% membership increase in the last 6 weeks. Be that as it may, if that is the case, you've got to think that One Nation are going to try and drag the bull by its horns over the line at some point before 2028 with noise of Barnaby Joyce and maybe other, I was going to say respected, but that's the wrong word, other politicians who have history in that place may side with One Nation. The Australian people are looking for change at the ballot box. Is One Nation that change?
100% no.
Why?
Because the whole system is unlawful, it's criminal, and the system is so systemically corrupted. It is basically organised crime syndicate, racketeering against every single Australian, along with the banks, the state governments, the councils, the law firms, the judges, the courts. The whole system is a racketeering organised crime syndicate. There is no way that we can use a criminal system to change this country. It needs to be removed, and we need to reinstall a temporary government to bring back our constitution into play, as proclaimed and gazetted, and also common law, and hold a free and fair election somewhere between 6 and 12 months of that interim government coming into place, without Labor or Liberal, right? Without any political parties, and we need to get back to basics. We cannot use this fraudulent, corrupt system to change it. And not only that, but Pauline Hanson, people need to do a little bit more research into who her handlers are and who runs her. She's just a puppet like the rest of them. Yes, she says a lot more good things, but don't let that fool you. And anyone that's got any discernment that's been in this for the minimum 5 years, but others a lot longer than that. And I'm late to the party for not voting, and I'm getting abused for saying this now because, you tried to be a politician. Well, no, I fucking didn't. Right? I said from day one, the very first forum that we had at the church in 2022, I'm not here for a seat at the table. I'm here to turn the table upside down. So I never tried to be a politician. I was using the platform, using that space to get a message out to the general public. So, and
to be honest, also, that's the same. I think we're talking about the same thing here with Australia One. I was asked to run during the election as well for them up on the Sunshine Coast, and I was very keen to be able to do that as well. I mean, you and I were both very dedicated to that cause, but then it became very clear that the Australian public aren't going to accept a group of non-politicians standing up to run the country, and I think we're still facing that to a certain degree, don't you?
Yeah, we may be. But that's the and I won't say stupid. Some of it's stupidity. The rest of it is ignorance, and they're not as well versed in what's actually going on and how the system works and how the system's controlled and what they do by wheeling out their own opposition. As far as I'm concerned, Pauline sold out a long, long time ago, and I know from 3 different people that have served a massive amount of documents, and that was pure media on the vaccines. And they didn't want to use any of that information because it wasn't going to win them any votes. I know someone else that's about to take Pauline to the High Court. And I'm sorry, but these people are ignorant. They have no idea what they're talking about and what the system is and how it's controlled. So the only way, and that's why I wanted to build this. This is outside of Remembrance Day a lot. But why I wanted to build this narrative of no political answer and no answer in the courts, and find the amount of people in this country that would be willing to walk away and shut the system down if we got the numbers. I don't want any faint-hearted bloody cowards or anyone that believes we can join all the minor parties together and have a crack in 2028. Don't even join when we get the website up. I don't want you there. I only want to know true numbers. And I believe over the next 12 to 18 months, we will get more people in that mindset as the government stomp on these people and the financial crash comes and all these other things happen. People are going to be more in alignment with my point of view and where I want to go with this country than they will be even talking about 2028 or the next election, because there'll be more evidence, people will have more discernment, and they'll see it for what it is. So we got to get ahead of the curve and establish a concept, and it's not my concept. It needs to be built, it needs to be workshopped, it needs to be criticised, it needs to be troubleshot, and it needs to be developed over a 12-month period to get us in a position that we have a solid plan, not just a go on strike for a week here or defund this or defund that. This has to be a well-orchestrated plan from start to finish on multiple levels, and it needs to be done by all the groups. And a consensus needs to be made that this actually has some merit, and this is the way that we should be moving forward. That doesn't mean that we stop going to court and we holding these people to account or stop sending letters to councillors. We've got to keep educating these people, including the police, and give them the knowledge of what they're doing and who they are and the unlawfulness of what they're doing. We've got to continue to get them to wake up at the same time, but we've got to be ready to, and I won't say that to pull that word, but we've got to be ready to execute. There's another word. Execute a plan. I was going to say pull the trigger, but the connotations that people will jump on those terms.
That's a measure of how desperate they are at the moment. They're looking for any kind of language that we will use that they can jump on and say, oh, they're inciting people to do awful things. So that's why we have to be a bit careful about how we phrase things.
100%. But if we don't have a real plan, and I truly believe, and this has been the same from day one, I've said this is a bottom-up, top-down scenario, and we're going to squash the bastards in the middle. Now, if we're expecting the top-down to happen when we're not doing the bottom-up and showing that we've grown up as a nation and a people, and we're coming together with a real solution, not to beg or petition or ask for our country back or for the right thing to happen, but demand that it happens, and if there's consequences if you don't hand over when we're ready. Now, that letter can't be sent until we've got potentially 4 million people, which is about 20% of the voting age population, on board to execute the plan when the time comes. And we need to have the police ready on our side. And half of them already are. They're waiting. I believe that the military and the police and all the rest of them, they're waiting for us to get our shit together. And unless we come up with a plan like this, I think this is going to continue to drag on for who knows how long.
I tend to agree that the military are waiting, but I want to know why. I believe the country here, America, every Western nation is pretty much at a point where if the military were to stand up and do something, our side would get an increase of 100% in numbers overnight, because it would be some validation to everything that we have been saying for the last 5 or more years. So the argument that the military are waiting for us to do something, well, there is only so much that all of us can do. What is that critical number we need to hit for support before the military will get the finger out of their ass and do what they're meant to do?
Well, I think that we need to have a massive amount of people that are ready to take a course of action, and that is to basically boycott the system, withdraw our labour, our support, our finance, and everything else on a particular date when we have those numbers and we know we've got the numbers. At that point, we say we can write a letter to the military and say this is what's happening. The letter's been sent to the government. The letter's been sent to the Attorney General and to the Governor General, and they've been instructed that they've got 28 days to stand down. We have a temporary government of 25 people waiting to move in and reconstitute our constitution and common law and steer this ship, while all councils and state governments go into caretaker mode under that temporary government. And no new contracts. You just provide services, pick up rubbish, and that's about as far as you go. And then you fix the road. Sorry?
fix the roads. Make it really simple. Put the dirt in the hole, pack it down tight, and we'll get back to you in 3 months.
Well, that's the hilarious side of getting pulled over for an unroadworthy car because your indicator's not working, or your headlight might be your high beam's not working, whatever the case may be. The roads aren't car worthy to start with.
Yeah.
So until you get your house in order, Vic Roads and Queensland Roads or whoever,
the Victorian roads destroyed the wiring in the bus for the lights. Just destroyed them. So, yeah, Vince, to a point where we had to put Vince on a plane to come up here and help rewire the bus. So, Victorian roads, and I can't imagine they've got any better since the last time I was down there. Mind you, we're having the same sort of problems in Queensland, although that seems to be on the improve with this new government here at the moment. Look, I know you've got a bit going on, so I don't want to hold you up for too long tonight. What is your message for people who can get to the shrine in Melbourne on the 11th then, and for those who can't get to the shrine but want to do something anyway?
Okay, so the message really is, I'm just would really love to see some people in this country take a day off work, whether it be annual leave, leave without pay, whatever it may be. I'm not promoting people should lie and have a sick day. That's not the right thing to be doing. But take a day off. If you're close enough to Melbourne, get down to the shrine. If you're not, I've spoken to Andy out at near Horsham, and he's going to do it, and he's going to encourage all the people in my place, Dimboola, to do it. Is go to your local RSL. Now, forget about who the RSL are and who runs the RSL. It's not about the building, right?
That's right.
It's about the intent and the action that you're taking to do something significant out of the norm in your life, to take a day off work and actually go and stand there and think about these people, these young men, 17, 18, 16, some of them 15 even, that actually lied about their age to go and what they believed to defend their country so that their families could have a bright future. Go and stand there, and maybe you'll meet someone else in your town. Maybe you'll start to build something. And I thought if every group in this country could get behind this one action, that it might show some unity and a common purpose that we
Absolutely.
should be respected, regardless of why they were there and who sent them. And what the RS, that's not about that. Don't bring all that bullshit into the argument. Just show some respect for what these people did on your behalf, and then start to think about and have a chat after lunch about what you can do to show them the respect by showing that their loss was not in vain, and that you're going to actually do something, make some massive changes in your life to make things right and to get our country back.
Yeah, over 60,000 Australians died in World War I fighting for the Empire. They believed they were fighting for Australia. They were sacrificed on the beaches of Gallipoli, amongst other places.
Yep.
And once you've had this experience and you start to truly understand the depth of Remembrance Day and what it's all about, then do a little bit of research into the Treaty of Versailles and what it handed Australia but was never completed. And you'll get an idea of where this nation should be going as truly independent, truly free. But we haven't ever had that. We're only one referendum away from it too, by the way. But that's a whole other story. Darren, thanks for coming on tonight, mate. And I know life at the moment's pretty busy with packing things up and relocating, but I wish you all the best with it. I hope that you and the family are doing okay out of it all, mate. It's got to be a hard time.
Yeah, no, thanks, Carl. Look, I appreciate that. And look, it's just part of life. And I said at the start of this journey, if I lose everything and we win, then I'm okay to that, because the legacy I want to leave to my kids is not a financial one. It's one of action, and it's one of never say die, and one of a free democratic country for them to thrive in and live the rest of their lives in, rather than a house each or anything else. So at the end of the day,
Yep.
I'm in some serious trouble, and it is of my own doing. I've made this choice to take this fight on continuously for 4 years, and just throw caution to the wind and put everything else at risk. for the greater good of this nation. And, that's okay. I'm okay with that. But, yeah, it is a pretty shit time at the moment. It's been a shit 18 months, to be honest, with all the other stuff that's gone. But, I'm still breathing. I'm still enjoying a couple of beers with Greenie and Brendan that are down the back helping me load the truck. And
Great.
Life goes on, mate.
Say good day to the boys for me. I'll let you go back to a beer and say hi to Anna, and look forward to catching up soon. In fact, if it's possible, we might even do something of a little live before the event on the 11th. If I can't get down there, I doubt that I'll be able to get down there, but we might even see if we can't do something live from there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's still 2.5 weeks away, I think, or thereabouts. Yeah. So that'd be really good. And look, I'm going to continue to try and get this message out to as many people with a platform as possible, and keep sharing the concept and the idea of finding some common ground on one issue. And who knows what happens after that? Maybe there's another issue we could all come up with that we have common ground on, and what may build from those common ground issues may build into something more significant on a bigger kind of action.
Yep, 100%. All power to you, brother. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
All right, thanks, Carl. Have a good night. Thanks.
Yeah. Darren Bergwerf, working pretty hard at the moment, and working very hard for the people of this country. He's not the only one. There are many folks out there doing as much as they possibly can in whichever way that they can. And as Darren identified, there are a variety of approaches that are taken, but all of them are going to hinge around what comes next. And that means in a governmental sense, in a legal and a lawful sense. So when we talk about what comes next in those sorts of areas, I figure out this bloke is probably one of the best I can get on to talk about. Good evening, Mr. Dwyer.
Hi, mate. How you doing? Hey, everybody. Good to see you all.
I think Darren's raised a couple of interesting points there, mate. And you and I were talking during the week a couple of days ago. We both agree that the key to any success in this nation is to get the courts uncaptured. People do not understand that the court system here has been completely captured and is not operating as a normal court. Can you explain that for folks a little, to make it a little clearer?
Sure. Look, the High Court here in the country is the Supreme Court of the whole land, and all other courts in every state are literally under the High Court banner. Now, one of the key things here is that there should be a separation of powers. So there should be a separation from the legislature, a separation between the legislature and the executive and the judiciary. A separation. There should be no connection.
Yep.
So at the moment, here's how it works. The Governor General, who should be nominated by the Crown, is no longer nominated by the Crown. The Governor General happens to be a friend of the Prime Minister, has been for a long time, successive Governor Generals. The Prime Minister taps the person on the shoulder and says, "You can be my Governor General." Then they tell the Crown that's who they're having as the Governor General. And the Crown, it's just a rubber stamp out of the office. And then the Governor General plays the game. So the Prime Minister then is part of the executive, and the executive nominate the judges.
Yeah.
Right? Now, as a judge in any court, or are you going to rule against the people who put you in that position and enable you to have the lifestyle and the kudos and the credibility that you have? Well, hell no. So the courts will not rule the way a Chapter 3 court should rule. And the Chapter 3 court, if you look in the Constitution, and we keep going back to that thing because that's where the rules are, and the Australian courts are not Chapter 3 courts because it's very difficult, first of all, to get a trial by jury.
Very difficult.
So, very difficult. And there's an old court many years ago called a Star Chamber. And that's where one man sits in judgment. It's actually a satanic chamber. And that's what our courts have become, because the executive of the parliament control the courts. So whenever the executive make a ruling, the courts must uphold it. That's their job. And so when we have what I would call mumble brains for politicians who are holding all the keys of power in one little spot in the executive, and they control the courts and they control the legislature, we don't have we got no snowball's hope in hell. And in actual fact, Augusto Zimmerman, who I have a lot of respect for, Augusto said that the problems and the issues that face the people of this country have no judicial remedy.
That's
no judicial remedy.
A frightening revelation. In a perfect world, Tim, how would a Chief Justice or justices in the High Court be appointed? Do the people get a say in this under a Chapter 3 court, or is it still the executive that gets to choose?
No, it's the Governor General.
Right. Okay.
Now, so because the Governor General is meant to be totally independent, because he was not put there, or should not be put there, by the executive or by the Prime Minister. Should be appointed by the caretaker Crown, who has the best interest of the people, supposedly, in place, right? And so one of the twisty little things I've got in my sick mind is that when we can bring this country back under its lawful constitution, then what we should be doing is getting rid of the Governor General. We don't need a Governor General because the English Crown has gone to hell in a handbag.
Yep.
So we can't rely on them for any modicum of sense. But what we need instead of a Governor General is constitutional guardians. And it'd be a body of either 3 or 5 people who would be constitutional guardians. So any law that wants to be changed has to be run past this body of people. You've got the upper house and the lower house, right? Now, when the Senate gets to have a look at it, the Senate is actually as powerful as the High Court if it's run right.
Right.
But it's not being run right. So we need 2 safeguards. We need the Senate. And if the bill gets through the 3rd reading before it can be passed, it would have to go to the constitutional guardians so as to protect the people from the sort of crap we're facing today. I was in a conversation with somebody the other day, and I asked them the question. I said, can you point to one major problem that we have in this country that is not rooted in a government decision?
Be hard pressed to find one of those, I would think.
Well, one would think, because every major problem we have today, whether it's inflation, whether it's mass migration, whether it's foreign ownership, whether it's any of these things, they are all decisions that were previously made by previous governments. All the lockdowns made by government, the bring in the vaccine made by government. The government changed our currency and gave away all our silver back in the day in 66. We didn't get a say in that. That was a bad decision. Our money is now not backed by silver. It's backed by belly button fluff and a good fart. But that's the value of our money, government decision, government decision, government decision. Now you can't buy a car in this country, a new car that isn't some sort of bloody hybrid almost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I just saw a thing the other day where apparently, I don't know, I haven't done the numbers, but China puts out more CO2 in 12 days than we do in a year.
Yep.
Now, the government, Bent Bowen, he's still full steam ahead on net zero. It's an impossible thing to reach. And in actual fact, to reach net zero as by lowering CO2 is impossible. However, Australia is already at a calculatable net zero because of the amount of coastline we have and the oxygen coming up out of the sea and the amount of forestation we have. We're already at net zero, but there's no money in that. They can't tax it. Yeah. So what Darren B is talking about is everybody coming together with just for one thing, for the respect of our fallen, whether they fell in the First World War or consequential wars, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the politics, like he said. It doesn't matter whether we were conned into it, whatever it was. Those men and women, don't care your colour, black or white, you went there with a heart. Yep. You went there with a solid heart to save this country, and you never came home. Right? That's the respect. And today we can't find people to stand up. Oh, if I say that, I could get into trouble. Oh, what word?
We'll be glorifying the killing of people, Turks, Muslims, or whoever, and it's got nothing to do with that whatsoever. But these are the distractions that will be placed in front of us. You're lucky enough to have young kids in your family that are not yours, grandkids, still going to school. What sort of education are they getting? Do you know anything about? Are they being given some information about Remembrance Day, about the importance behind it, or any of that sort of education anymore?
Cyan, my 18-year-old granddaughter, she's obviously about to finish school. They're not doing anything about Remembrance Day, right? Yep. The others, I don't know what TJ's girls are learning. They're up in far north Queensland.
Learning how to dodge crocs and swat mosquitoes, I'd say.
yeah. And my other son's kids, well, they're homeschooled. He pulled them out of school a long time ago. And, they didn't even get a birth certificate. So,
wow. Yeah, good. Yeah. So Tim, I don't want to keep you up too much longer,
you're
obviously.
Right. Have your life.
But Darren's idea of us all come together on for one reason, I think is one we can all get behind. How do we continue that one reason we're all together on November the 12th?
Yeah, I think Darren's idea is very, very good. And if we can just come together for the remembrance of Remembrance Day and be solemn about it. It's not just, oh yeah, I'll take the day off and I'll go and do this and this and this and this. No. Get focused. Get focused on that. How do we take that into the next day and the next day and the next day? And how do we become more and more focused on other important issues? Well, I think the first thing is let's get the first day out of the road. Let's get the first come together focus and see how that plays out. Right? Now, if that plays out well, which I think it should, I really do. I think it should. I'll be doing something here. I'll figure out something to do here in Gawler. But then we pick the next issue. And it's got to be carefully picked. And I don't know what it will be that will trigger people, because Remembrance Day is a very special day. We need a special event. Now, the government have weaponized so many words. You know, you're either an Islamophobe, you're a homophobe, you're breaking social cohesion, you're a sovereign. You know, there's any number of words that are trigger points for the government. They'll come up with something else, I'm sure, between now and Christmas. But I think perhaps on December the 10th could be another good day.
Okay.
Because
my
December
mum
the
is 90 that day, so I think it'll be a great day for her.
Yeah, great day. But December the 10th is the day that the swamp monster Julian Mann Grant and her outfit want to bring in the underage ID on social media. Well, I think that would be a great day for Australians just to go, not only am I not going to comply with any of this rubbish, but I'm not going to go to work that day. And on that day, although I know it will end up in the recycle bin, I am going to send as many government people that I can find an email and just bomb the crap out of their email addresses saying, stick it up your ass.
Yep.
Right? And if we had, 2 or 3 million people on a day just pull out of work, not go anywhere, and just all they got to do is sit on their computer and send email. And just smash them. That might be something. I don't know. It's just an idea, right?
Yeah.
But the whole thing is, it's not about the events so much. It's about the uniting together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Coming together, showing we can unite to do one thing together.
Yeah.
And if we can do that, like you say, on Remembrance Day, that's the beginning. If it is a letter writing or an email sending day, then great. It might be something else. It might be something to do with digital ID and the enforcement of that coming forward. Although digital ID is linked to Julian and Grant's spectacular little thing that'll be coming up on December 10th. I personally don't think it's going to happen. I personally think it's going to fall over before December. I'm praying that it's going to fall over before December the 10th. And I don't know if you heard earlier, but she's come out today and has already expressed that she is leaving. She will not renew the contract. And I got the funny feeling the contract's going to be cut short. So,
Well, this could well happen, because the government called all the heads in Australia of all the YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all this stuff, wanted to have them all in for a parliamentary chat, and none of them turned up. None of them turned up, right?
Well, what's the point? All they were going to do was going to be told, told off by these bloody bureaucrats and politicians, and they don't care. They've got more money than God, these companies. They are going to fight this tooth and nail.
Oh, yeah. They could send Australia broke in the courts, right?
Yeah.
So. But, the other thing. Go on, Carl. No, you're right. The other thing is, don't forget that one of the greatest military battles that was ever fought and won by anybody in the empire was fought and won on the 31st of October.
Yes, the Battle of Bathsheba.
The Battle of Bathsheba. And look, a lot of people do not understand the entire significance of that. Have we got a couple of minutes?
Yes, by all means.
Yep. The Battle of it's one of my favorite things, and I've never been able to have the time or the money to go there as a remembrance on that day. But Bathsheba, the Australian Light Horse, was under the English command. And every charge they made, they were ordered by the English generals to, after the first cannon fire, dismount from your horse and go on foot. and they got hammered, right? Now, on this particular day, the horses are out of water. They're dying of thirst. The men aren't much better, and they were going to charge again. And the Australian light horse commanders said, we'll charge, but we will charge under Australian command, under our conditions. And the English said, well, you're going to die anyway, so go for your life, right? And so what happened was, the first thing that happened was they gathered in prayer. And the prayer was to send God's army before them to protect them, right? That was the basis of the prayer. The other thing that was that they were instructed that after the first volley of cannon fire, lay low on the neck of your horse and give the horse its head. It will go for the water, for the wells of Bathsheba. You won't stop it, right? So they got low on the neck of the horse. So the cannons fired. They laid down on the neck of the horse. They gave the horse its head. The horse took off. Now, the machine gunners, the riflemen, and the artillery could not adjust their sights quick enough. So all the fire was going over their head. 32 men were killed that day, 32 Australians, and they routed out thousands of Turkish military. The Turks were bailing out of the trenches long before the Australians got there. At the end of the battle, when they were interviewing or interrogating the Turkish prisoners, they asked them, why did you drop your guns and run so early? We hadn't even got there. And on several accounts, in different rooms and in different places, they were told that we had never seen such a giant army. In all our life, there was just far too many. We couldn't withstand it. That was God's army that was sent before them, right? Now, the Turks didn't know what the prayer was back over here on the other side of the hills, right? Now, the other significance of that is that, remember that the great crusades of England, thousands, hundreds of thousands of men went to take the Ottoman Empire out of the Promised Land, and they failed. Yeah. Over and over and over again, hundreds of thousands, and they failed. Then Napoleon, the great Napoleon, had a crack at it, and he got his ass handed to him on a plate.
Yep.
That nobody could get the Ottoman Empire out of Jerusalem. 800 Australians, right? There's a book written by Cole Stringer called 800 Horsemen. I encourage you to get it. And 800 Australians changed the history of the world, because the scriptures had said that whoever blesses my people and protects my land, I will bless them also. That's God's promise. Yeah. Now, think about this. From the First World War on to probably the last 20 years or maybe 25 years, Australia had been blessed like you wouldn't believe. We flourished. We lived like kings and emperors. We had everything at our fingertips until the government went godless and started making laws that went against God's word. And then the blessing came off us, and here we are today. Now, the Battle of Bathsheba, there's a lot to learn in that, but one of the key things here is, I think, if we as a people, Australian people, you may not go to church, you may not be religious, you might be a bush Calathumpian, I don't care. But at the end of the day, there's no atheists in a foxhole. And I know that because when my brother and I were smashed up in a car crash and he was dying, and he was an atheist. And he said to me, he said, Timmy, do you remember the prayers Mum taught us? I said, I do. He said, will you pray for me? He said, I'm dying.
Wow.
And he at any time he'd stand up and say, oh no, all the bloody Christians are piss weak. They're just using God as a crutch. But when the day came for him, all he wanted to know was, could somebody pray to God for him? Right? There's no atheists in a foxhole. Now, let me tell you this, good people. You might be comfortable today. Life might be cruisy today. But if you stay silent, you will find your granddaughters wearing burqas. You will find you're being tracked and traced no different than the Chinese people. You will have no rights, no freedoms, no anything. And if you think I'm exaggerating, sit there and wait for it. It'll come slap you right up the side of the head, but it'll be too late.
Yep,
So,
100%.
you know,
your story of Bathsheba, while you were telling that, you've inspired me. I think we need to reach out to Russell Crowe, who's playing Hermann Goring in the new Nuremberg movie.
right.
But this is the kind of story I can see Russell Crowe wanting to tell and being a brilliant storyteller for it. I think there was a movie made.
Oh, there was. Yeah.
40s or 50s, was it? The Charge of the Light Brigade or something?
Yep.
That needs to be remade. This story needs to be retold.
Well, it does, and it needs to be told in its graphicness, and there's no sugar or Hollywood involved in it. Like Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ.
Yep.
I don't know whether you ever saw it or not, but what people don't understand, that movie, The Passion of the Christ, made Mel Gibson $5 billion.
Wow.
And he paid for it all. He did the whole thing himself. Nobody would touch it, right? And when it was actually shown in underground theaters in the Middle East, the amount of people who turned from being a Muslim to a Christian was just thousands and thousands and thousands. We need the story to be told in its graphicness as it was, so as that the people in this country understand the power that we have if only we'll use it. Many years ago, I'll tell you this quickly and then I'll let you go and do some other stuff. Many, many years ago, the head of Procter & Gamble, the big soap company, was interviewed on some television show in America. And he was heavily involved in the Satanic Church of America. And the interviewer said to him, he said, are you not worried that when people find out that you are involved in the Satanic Church of America, they will stop using your product? And he said, well, no, not at all. He said, well, why not? He said, there are more Christians than there are Satanists. But he said the Christians are too weak and they do not understand the enormous power they have. So it worries me not.
When the Christians stand up, when they finally wake up and stand up, there is no stopping.
Like I said, Carl, you know, you look at this, England, America, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, New Zealand, South Africa, Fiji, all these places were built on the Christian doctrine of the 10 Commandments. You don't have to go to church to be a Christian. In fact, I wouldn't go inside a church these days. I'll be flat out to find one that I could actually feel comfortable in, because one of my mates in Melbourne, he was looking for a church to go to, so they found another church and they went in there, and the first thing that happened was they had welcome to country in the church on Sunday. So, you know, so it's lost, you know, it's lost. Yeah. So, but anyway, guys.
Just on that, our illustrious king, and I say that with my tongue firmly planted in places it probably shouldn't be, spent the day yesterday in Rome praying with the Pope. Now, this is something that hasn't happened. The empire's king hasn't prayed with a Catholic Pope in over 500 years. And the king, that'd be our king, went to the satanic hub to do it.
Yeah, and that's why he prayed with the Pope. Because, look, with a name like Dwyer, we were brought up Irish Catholics, right? And, you know, my father was an altar boy and heavily involved in the church and all this sort of stuff. And anyway, doesn't matter. My auntie was a Reverend Mother in the convent. So we were pretty staunch Catholics. And we had no idea. We had no idea, right? But when we understand in today's world, and I don't want to offend any participating Catholics out there, but check out the Satanic Center of the Vatican, because there is a huge statue in there that they bow down to in front of, and it is Satan. It is Satan. It's not Christ. It's not an enlightenment of God. It is Satan. And go and check it out. And then, so hate me later. Don't hate me now. Check it out, right? But the king, you got to understand, the Church of England just collapsed.
Yeah.
The High Church of England collapsed because when the Archbishop resigned, and this is why we couldn't get any traction with what we were trying to do with the Archbishop's office, and the legal department of the Archbishop office wouldn't touch it. They just, no, we don't have the authority. We're not going to do it. And then they appointed a new Archbishop who's what we believe to be a lesbian Archbishop of the High Church of England.
That's progressive.
Oh, that's very progressive, not very scriptural, not very godly, but progressive, right?
Yeah.
And so here in Australia, the Australian Church of England separated itself from the Church of England, or the Anglican Church, I should say.
The Anglican Church, yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, if you're a Christian, meaning that you understand the 10 commandments aren't 10 good suggestions, they are commandments. And by the way, it doesn't say thou shalt not kill. It says thou shalt not murder.
Right.
There is a big difference.
There is,
right?
Yes.
And so in this, if you were brought up on the ethos of a fair go, do the right thing, don't lie, don't steal, don't do it, then you're running on Christian ethos. And pretty soon, if we don't do something, we'll be going on, don't eat pork, cover your wife up. She's not allowed outside on her own. Your daughters can only be educated to grade 6. And by the way, they must have their genitalia mutilated before then. And no, if you don't want to go down there, come this way.
Absolutely. Tim, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. Along with so many other bits and pieces that you're involved with, if people want to learn about how to get hydrogen running their equipment a bit better, we can help them out there with your hydrogen generator too.
Yep. And keep your eye on this space. We're going to be doing a seminar online for the emotion code. Getting rid of fears, phobias, anxiety, stress, getting rid of post-traumatic stress, getting rid of all this. And we're all suffering a bit of post-traumatic stress after the last 5 years. Sure. And the results we're getting out of that are just gobslapping. Right. So anyway.
So briefly, that's EFT with a twist, isn't it?
It's EFT. It's the tapping on steroids. Right, it really is. And to give you an understanding, I was with a dear friend today who had a massive heart attack, was in hospital for a while. He had 3 blocked arteries. They put a stent in one, a stent in the second, but the second one got squashed down a bit, and the third artery's totally calcified. But once they got him stable, they ditched him out of hospital. And I was talking to him today, and he said, I'm just so terrified. He said, I'm anxious every minute of the day, right? And so we did this emotional code with him for 4 minutes. And he just went, oh God. I said, okay, how are you feeling? He said, it's like the world has gone silent for me. He said, I'm calm.
Oh, wow.
Took 4 minutes.
Wow. And obviously tomorrow you'll give him a call and see if it's still feeling that way.
Yeah, well, I spoke to him this afternoon. I spoke to him this afternoon after I got home because he's a fair way away. You know, he's chilled. He's doing good.
Bloody great. Well, let's talk more about that next time.
There's always something going on, Carl.
Sure is, brother. Sure is.
All right.
All right.
I hope I've upset enough of you people. I hope everybody's got some opinion firing off in the chat. I can't see the chat, but as long as we're talking about it, it's happening.
That's exactly right. Thanks, mate. Love to you. Love to the goat-loving wife that you have. And I'll talk to you real soon.
Good on you, mate. Love your work.
Thank you, mate. Tim Dwyer, legend. And if you are interested in hydrogen systems, you can email him at h2@vofhq.com and put a little hydrogen in your vehicle. It'll get you a lot further and give you all these magnificent increases. You get lots more talks. Put it that way. Many more talks. All right, we've run a little over time, but it is a Friday night. I will leave you with one little thing here that I wanted to show earlier. This is something that's been put out by that horrible piece of filth that runs in the Parliament called Lydia Thorpe. She's now decided that she wants to encourage an investigation leading to criminal charges against those people that, as she says here, attacked the camp's sovereignty, which was illegally placed in the Shrine Gardens in Melbourne on the day of the first March for Australia. You might recall that Thomas Sewell and the NSN boys overran that camp and there was a bit of bluing. Well, what you probably weren't told was that the people who were in that camp were coming down from the top of their little Camp Sovereignty Hill and bashing people who were coming back out from the March for Australia. They were vandalizing cars. We've shown the pictures. The evidence is clearly there, and there is video of them doing it. And what they weren't expecting was a bunch of young Australians who weren't going to take that kind of shit from anyone and who were very happy to go and help protect elderly, aged folks and young children who were being targeted by a bunch of Aboriginal activists illegally camped out on a piece of land in the centre of Melbourne. Lydia Thorpe is a piece of shit. I think we all understand that. Angry piece of shit who doesn't have too many brains, but unfortunately has a very loud voice. Put these people where they should be, folks. Give them no power in your life at all. And if you felt the urge, push back against people like that piece of shit, Lydia. I'm going to love you and leave you now. It's been a good week. Thank you for those folks who have been in touch with me this week and tried to help out a little bit. Don't forget that if you want to help out, it's cheap and easy to do. It's only $2. And if you look at that link, merch.vofhq.com, click on the product Sanctuary 750 link and buy a ticket in our lottery. It's only $2. You could win $750 or 1 gram of Ainsley Bullion Gold. Looking forward to that. And congratulations once again to our winners. Branko, who picked up the silver, and Katrina, who picked up the $750 and through her golden heart, donated it back to the Voice of Freedom and to the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary. So the donkeys going to get their decent feed next week. I love that idea. Have a great weekend, folks. Might talk to you. I'm catching up with my daughter tomorrow. We're going to go for a little drive. So there might be a little live happening off the phone at one stage there. And Sunday, catching up with my mum, who I haven't seen in an age. So that's going to be good too. Actually, be interesting. My mum turns 90, I think I've told you, in December. And for the last few months, she hasn't been able to play golf. Now, my mum's been playing golf since, God, I don't know, she must be playing 86 70 or 80 years she's been playing golf every week. So she's got a sore shoulder, and it stopped her from playing for the last month or so. So guess what I'm taking down to her tomorrow? X39 patches. We'll stick them on her and see whether or not they'll make a difference. And trust me, if they don't, I'll hear about it. And if they do, I probably won't. But we will just see what happens. They work for me. With a bit of luck, they'll work for her. And I know they work for so many of you. If you are interested, then those LifeWave patches are very easy to get. You can get them here at lifewave.com. If Vince doesn't turn the bloody thing off on me. If lifewave.com /VOF enrollments /PAX. If you go to there, you can just sign up. And it doesn't mean you get involved in anything that you've got to sign up to and pay for every month. You just sign up as a preferred customer. You can buy your own patches and try them out for yourself. And we would love to be able to help you out with that, give you a little bit of relief from the pain and shit that happens in your life through, well, whether it be old age or, you know, just being young and stupid and doing yourself a mischief. God knows we've all done that. At any rate, X39 patches do a bloody great job for me. They help me out tremendously, and I know they help many others. Unfortunately, not for everyone, but you won't know unless you give it a go. And it has been life-changing for many. Hopefully, it will be for my mum too. Have yourself a great weekend, folks. Thank you again for the continued support, and more particularly just for the family that we have here. Watching what goes on in the chats, watching the support between individuals in those chats, Vince and I are just blown away by it. It warms our heart in ways I can't probably describe, and we probably don't know how to express it properly. But we are so grateful for each and every one of you. I just want you to know that. We are so grateful, and we are so proud of this caring, wonderful group that religiously comes back and joins us on this program. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you from Vince. And have a bloody great weekend. Watch out for the dickheads, though.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's rock!